we'll go with that. So Angel, I'll just start it out. The first question for you. I know we had on Antron and John Force on yesterday, and they were talking about how long it had been since they'd raced at Bristol. It had been like for 2 years, but for you guys and gals in pro stock motorcycle, it really has been a day or two since you've been here back in 99 and 2000. And I know you're one of the only current racers. I think you and Steve Johnson are the only two who actually raced back then. What do you remember from that Winston showdowns back in the day?
The only thing I remember, and you could correct me if I have the wrong place, but did we race top field dragsters against funny cars there?
We did, yeah, we did. And
Okay,
you guys had an 8-bike field in 99, and then in 2000 it was 16. And Matt Hines won both races, won both of those. They were exhibition races, actually. Hines. They weren't for points.
Yeah.
So
that's
it'll
about
be
all I
the
remember. It's been a long time since I've been there. I kind of I seem to remember a lot of trees around the racetrack. Like,
yeah.
So I remember that, but I mean, it's just been so long. I have a hard time. Like, I actually had to get on the phone last night with Andrew Hines and ask him, so tell me about the Dallas track. I've only been down it a million times, but I have to have him refresh my memory about the track surface itself and, just what to expect, because he just remembers everything. And I have a hard time remembering anything. So yeah, I don't remember a whole bunch about the track. I do remember it being really beautiful there. I remember the very strange fuelers against the funny cars. But I can tell you, I'm looking forward to getting back there, because anytime we get to go somewhere new and different, that's exciting for us to see different fans we haven't seen in a while. The opportunity of being in an area where people haven't seen pro stock motorcycles in a while, that's really great for us.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and kick it off here. We'll have Jeff Birchfield go ahead and ask a first question.
And Joe, what did it mean to you earlier this year when you became a member of the 200 mile an hour club? And what's that experience like going on a bike 200 miles an hour?
I can tell you that I honestly didn't think it was going to happen for me. I was struggling last year to get the speeds that Andrew and Eddie get. Andrew hadn't gotten into the 200 mile an hour club either, but he did do 200 miles an hour at a test session one day, I believe. But I just wasn't there. No matter what I did, I couldn't get the bike to go that fast. There were some things that we had different about my bike last year. Those things weren't the same this year on the new Suzuki that I'm riding, but we had like a different exhaust last year that didn't give me the power that they had. But this year I had no excuses, and I just was wondering if it was going to happen. And it wasn't something that I was really focusing on, because I wanted to learn to ride the bike and get the low ETs, because that's what we win races with. That's what we get points for. Other than the Denso the Denso 200 mile an hour club, there wasn't anything else, that we needed to do that for. So I wanted to be a part of it, just didn't think I would be. So I didn't set my mind on it. And then when we got to Gainesville, actually, I'm going to tell you a little bit more. We had gone to Orlando to do some testing before Gainesville, and the motorcycle was so fast and I couldn't mentally keep up with it. And I was scared of it. I didn't think I'd be able to ride it. And I did not want to go 200 miles an hour on this motorcycle, because it just seemed like such a scary thing to do. But we got to Gainesville, some things started coming together for me. And one thing I was able to ease my mind about was the fact that the Gainesville racetrack is so long. The shutdown is super long. And it didn't have anything to fear with the 200 miles an hour, trying to get it stopped. So I just rode it the best I could. I didn't think we were going 200 miles an hour. I went straight down the track. It felt like a decent run. And then when I got there and they told me that I ran 200 miles per hour, there was no emotion whatsoever, because I was just so thankful that I got the motorcycle safely straight down the racetrack. So the 200 mile an hour part was icing on the cake. And after the fear and the adrenaline rush had kind of settled down and I realized I had just done 200, I was very excited. But I got to tell you, the 202, now that was awesome, because 200 was great. It was 200.00, which was kind of cool. But when I went 202, I was really proud of that.
All right, we'll go with Heather Williams. Go ahead, Heather.
So I know you don't remember much about your last trip down here, but so is there anything that you're looking forward to about coming to this region, or maybe about the track that you've heard about from other competitors?
Definitely, like I just mentioned a little while ago, is getting to see some new faces, new race fans. I know they're not new race fans, but new to us because we haven't raced there in so long. So I'm always excited to spread the pro stock motorcycle class as far as we can spread it with new fans that may have not paid attention to us before. Um, I think Tennessee is actually a big motorcycle place for us. I remember when we go to Memphis, we had a lot of fans there. So I'm hoping that we have a lot of support at this track. I'm looking forward to finding that out. I'm not quite as excited as it being a new race surface for me, just because it's already a difficult task to get these bikes safely down the racetrack, and then you have to go to a surface you're not as acquainted with. But I know we'll learn it pretty quickly, and my crew, my team, Andrew and Eddie, they're really good at looking at the racetrack itself and making me aware of anything I need to be aware of. So basically, just going to a new place, seeing new faces, and trying to gain new fans for the pro stock motorcycle class.
All right, Alan Gregory, go ahead.
Angel, how emotional has this season been? You had Hurricane Ida near your hometown, and then we all saw what happened in Charlotte with you and Joey Gladstone. What has this season been like?
Yeah, it's been a lot of emotional ups and downs for me, starting the year off as well as we did with the 200-mile-an-hour club and racing well, and then struggling and trying to get the bike to go rounds. Mostly, I don't want to say all, but a lot of it being my fault, just not riding as well as I should. But it's hard when you have one of the quickest and fastest motorcycles at the track. Branson Hines does an excellent job to give me the bike I need to win the race. And then I just keep having these hiccups and making mistakes and not doing a good job. So that's emotional for me in itself. And then, things like Hurricane Ida happened, and I really had my mind set on bringing home the Wally from the U.S. Nationals because I wanted to just bring some cheer back home to my Lafourche Parish hometown. It was really devastating here. It still is. It's still a mess around here. There's a lot of cleaning up to do, a lot of houses that were completely destroyed. Several of my family and friends, as a matter of fact, were devastated by the storm. So I wanted to bring that Wally home so bad in the U.S. Nationals, and it didn't happen. I went to Reading thinking that it was definitely going to happen with my number one qualifier. And then of course that didn't happen. And then we went to Charlotte, and I kind of felt like that was my last chance. Not, I knew that there's more races for the year, but we had a 3-race stretch, 3 in a row. And I wanted to bring it home while the pain was still being felt here in our town, to bring some joy, like I said. And so I wanted to get it done. I didn't want it to be like the last race of the year. Oh, hey, look, I finally won this for Lafourche Parish. But I was able to get it done in Charlotte. It was an emotional day, extremely emotional day for me. Watching Corey go down and crashing with Joey was devastating. Corey is a very good friend of mine. He's a former teammate of mine. So that messed with me a lot, just in my concern for him, especially my concern for him. But then also now I have to drive the bike down the racetrack after seeing that. And that's always very difficult for me to do, especially in the mom position I'm in now. So I had to race 3 tough competitors, Ryan Ayler first round, and then my own teammates, Andrew and Eddie. So that's always emotional in itself, when you're having to race your own teammate, especially when I'm racing Andrew, who happens to be my crew chief. So, I'm racing the guy that tunes my motorcycle. So putting them both on the trailer was exciting for me. It was an emotional high. And then I had to go into the final against Joey, knowing how bad he wanted to win the race for himself and for Corey. And he was winning the race. I left the starting line. I had a very late light. He was ahead of me. I could see him ahead of me. I thought it was over for me, but I figured I'm just going to keep going and see what I run. And then all of a sudden he disappears, and my win light comes on, and I was emotionally torn because I was excited and happy for what I accomplished, what I had been trying to accomplish. I was also feeling guilty and sad for Joey, and especially with the fact that I had such a late reaction time, and Joey probably would have won the race had his kill switch not come loose from the motorcycle. So I didn't know how to feel at the top end. I was pretty upset. I kept telling Joey I was sorry. I'm very sorry. I just didn't want to take it from him that way. But then after things calmed down and I realized what I had done to make it to the final round, and I reminded myself that luck is a huge part of drag racing. And when the stars are aligned and you get to take the Wally home, then it's just meant to be. So I tried to let the guilty feelings go away and know that my team worked their butts off for it, and we all deserve the win.
So on gel right now, you're sitting 17 points out of first place. Steve Johnson's leading the points. Coming to Bristol in playoff capacity to kind of what you say is a new track for you guys since you haven't been here for so long, and gals. How much of a challenge is that going to be to, race at Bristol with those kind of playoff circumstances on a new facility?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. It's kind of difficult when you don't know anything about the racetrack. We do utilize other people on other teams, like I'm trying to think of his name right now. You could help me out. What's the guy that does the race? He goes with the little thing and he checks out the race surface. Lanny. Whew,
Yeah.
I feel bad if I can't remember his name. Lanny knows every inch of every single racetrack. And so, we get information from him as well to find out what lane is better, which part of the lane, especially for a pro stock motorcycle. We don't have to go down both tire tracks. So we can choose a tire track or even go down the middle of one if we want to. So we have a little bit of an advantage to work the racetrack when we only have, two tires in line with each other. But for myself in particular, for, personally for each racer, there is going to be that fear of the unknown, not knowing what the lane's going to do, how the track is, where the bumps are. I'm going to probably take the scooter and go down there and check out the shutdown and see how my braking is going to have to be. That's always a concern especially when we're reaching these 200-mile-an-hour speeds. So we'll study it as best we can, and we'll set the bike up. One thing I don't know if you guys are aware of, but we do keep data from every single run at every single track we've ever made. And so that way, when we get to the racetrack, we know exactly where we want to start our setup and how we want to start our tune-up. Well, that is something like you're talking, we don't have that information. So we don't know exactly how we want to set the bike up. We don't know exactly how we want to tune it, but Andrew is so good at that kind of stuff. I know he'll figure it out and he'll get it close enough for the first run, and then we'll tune on it after that. Unfortunately, we only have 3 rounds of qualifying. 4 is always better. The more you can get ready for Sunday, but we'll figure it out. We'll do it as a team, and we do have 3 motorcycles that we get information from, so that helps as well.
I was looking up the track records here at Bristol from the last time Pro Stock Motorcycle ran here. It was 7.275 seconds was the ET record, and 187.36 was the speed record by Antron, and Matt Hines had the ET record. So pretty sure those will be obliterated at this race.
Yeah, I think the number 16 qualifier bump won't even be near that slow. So it'll be exciting to set some new track records.
All right, Jeff, do you have another question for Angel?
Yeah, just Angel, what's been your secret to staying competitive for so long, and what keeps you motivated at this point?
Well, my secret is definitely the team that I'm always surrounded by. I've always been on wonderful race teams, a great group of guys that know exactly what they're doing and have the same goal as me. And that couldn't be more true than now with the Vance and Hines team, stemming from Terry Vance and Byron Hines, who are still very much involved with the race team. And then we have Eddie and Andrew and all the guys at the shop and the whole gang at the corporate headquarters in California. Vance and Hines is just an unbelievable team. I like to compare them to NASA. I feel like I'm racing for NASA because they're just so good at what they do. So I have everything I need to win every race. I have everything I need to win a championship. I just have to get it done as a driver, and that's not always the easiest thing to do. But I'm motivated by several things. My race team, of course, is always a big one. A huge one for me right now for the past several years has been my daughter Ava, and now my other daughter Maya, who we adopted a year ago. We've been having her for about 4 years, but she's officially adopted now. So I have 2 little girls looking up to me, watching everything I do. And winning, of course, is a great thing for me to show them that you can accomplish anything you want to do. But I've decided to use my career, the losing part of it, to teach them as well. Both of my daughters are very competitive, and they watch me lose and they've watched me win. And I think the most important thing that they learn from me is how I handle the losses as well as how I handle the wins. And my oldest daughter, Ava, in particular, she gets pretty emotional when I don't win. She gets mad. And she thinks that I should be mad, and she thinks I should be mad at the person that beat me. And so I've been trying to teach her that, that person wants to win just as much as I do. I'm not mad at them. And then I tell her, I always say every time I lose, I say, guess what mom's going to do next? And she's starting to pick up on it now. She knows what the answer is going to be. And that's going to be that I'm going to keep trying. So my two daughters are a huge motivation. This last race, of course, it was my hometown. Going to Dallas this weekend, it's going to be the fact that Mission Foods, my sponsor, is from Dallas. Their corporate headquarters are there. And then when we come to see you guys, it's going to be for all the new fans that we're hoping to pick up. I'm hoping to make it to the winner's circle and meet a lot of new people and hopefully gain a lot of attention for the pro style motorcycle class.
All right, Alan, do you have another question for Angel?
Yes, Steve Johnson is kind of a unique character. Any way you can psych him out or get a read on him? He's kind of different.
Yeah, Steve and I go way, way back. We've had some really rough times, as a matter of fact. I'm going to let you guys in on a couple of things. That it was one episode, and I remember it like yesterday. It was in Reading, Pennsylvania. He didn't like me very much, and he let me know it. And he told me at the end of the racetrack one day that I needed to go back to the kitchen where I belonged because nobody wanted me out here. Well, of course, that was 20 years ago, and things have changed, and he's not allowed to say those kinds of things anymore. As a matter of fact, I went to him in Charlotte because he's doing so well. He's a thorn in my side right now. You know, he's running really well. He's winning races. So I went to his pit at the end of the race weekend, and I told him, I said, hey, Steve, why don't you go home and eat some broccoli or something? Because nobody wants you around here. So I was just trying to, kid around.